Bonjour, mesdames et messieurs. Bienvenue dans le dernier épisode de C'est Amour podcast. Je suis votre hôte, Francis, a.k.a. The Other Guy. Et avec moi, comme toujours, Sara, Nade.
Oh, wow.
Comment ça vous? Oh, comment vas-tu, actually?
Muy bien.
Muy bien. Look, that is just an example of an anything goes episode as we do the final lap. Un final lape. Actually, that's probably... I didn't look that one up. I made sure to look up this.
You looked it up. I thought you were just all of a sudden showing off that you are bilingual.
I am not. I don't know how to speak French. It is a language I wish I had learned to speak. Because I think French is a very nice language. Well, it's one of the Romance languages, right? With Spanish and all that stuff. And Italian and all that. But yeah, I don't know. I like French as a language. But I thought, it's a Devil May Care episode today as we wrap up our stint into podcasting. Which, we dipped our toe. How's your toe feeling after having dipped it into podcasting?
It's feeling thoroughly dipped.
How the 33 episodes of doing this show, how did it feel doing a show like this for 33?
It was interesting. It's a bit like having a conversation, but a lot more work.
It's a lot more. That's true. Yeah, no, that's not wrong. I did a show where it was. I made a podcast that was based off of a conversation or conversations I would have with my Irish best friend, and we would always talk after doing Geek Love Radio. We'd have these like 2 or 3 hour long conversations, and mind you, it's like 2:00 in the morning, and we're still having these really long conversations afterwards. And I'm like, we should put this into podcast form. Like, we're saying some really interesting stuff. And so we did that, and we did that for many, many episodes, and it was different, and it was a lot of work.
It's fun to do the recording part, because that is just like talking. But yeah, all of this stuff is more work than you think, on the outside. Everything you think is going to be easy and just like, I know exactly what I'm going to do. There's just so much to everything these days. With all like the social media and the marketing and all that stuff. Yeah.
Anything that you put online requires a lot of work if you want it to be good or to be recognized. Unless you're lucky and you're one of those people who just puts out a video and it just clicks. One of which is that I can think of right off the top of my head was, oh God, you know what, I can think of the person in my head. I can't think of the name. It's a overly attached girlfriend, I think, was the name of the person. And she did.
This was a podcaster?
She did a video, like a response video for, weirdly enough, Justin Bieber, right? It was a Justin Bieber reaction video. She did a thing where she sang the song, and she was kind of an overly obsessed, overly attached girlfriend. And she became really popular as a result.
That's cool.
Yeah, like for years she had like a popular, like she had to be in quote unquote comedy and post a bunch of YouTube and Instagram and stuff videos because she had an identity.
Was that the girl with like the really big eyes?
With the really big eyes, yeah.
Oh yeah. I remember her. Yeah.
I follow her on Instagram still. She can't let go. I think last year or the year before, she's like, I'm quitting. I'm done with the internet. Thanks everyone for a great ride. And then now she's back doing memes and stuff and like doing silly things on Instagram. And I'm like, yeah, once you get attention, it's hard to let it go. Especially since you didn't, she wasn't canceled. Nobody tried to get rid of her. She's just like, yeah, I don't want to do this anymore. And I'm pretty sure she's like, no, but I really liked everyone liking my stuff. And I really liked everyone really, really, commenting on my work. So she came back and she's doing it again. So whatever, it's cool, but unless you're that, it's really tough to be a voice on the internet.
Yeah, but there's also like content creators who get really popular because of a certain niche and they want to change that for some reason, and they kind of can't without losing a bunch of people.
Well, what's his face? Avocado.
Nikocado Avocado. What a strange thing that is. I heard, or I didn't hear, I watched a video by this one YouTuber where she said that he said he was going to quit, not YouTube, but he was going to quit mukbangs, the eating shows, at age 30. He was going to stop.
He's not 30?
He is now.
Oh, okay.
He turned 30 a few months ago, and he hasn't yet. Because, well, not only is it difficult to give up the lifestyle he has, taken on, but most of his viewers are haters, and they won't be interested in watching him, better himself. He'll have to, risk becoming more obscure, I guess, and maybe people won't flock to see him do a redemption arc or whatever. But I think they would. I think a lot of people would enjoy it, but just maybe not the numbers of the people who watch him, because he has on purpose made himself a spectacle.
Which is probably why you and I never blow up, right? I've never blown up a show because I'm not controversial. You're not controversial, right? I'm not trying to red pill anybody. You're not trying to man hate or whatever. You're not trying to do the extremes of anything, right? Neither of us are. We're trying to be rational, normal human beings. We're trying to help people, and nobody wants that. People want the are you the father of the baby? This woman's pregnant. Are you the father?
The
DNA
drama,
test.
yeah.
Oh, lies. Oh, deceit. We're not pushing an agenda. We're pushing health, right? We're pushing healthy relationships. We're pushing normalcy. We're not trying to get people to hate on each other. We're just trying to get people to.
Yeah, which I think some people like that, but then there's
not
creators
enough.
who just are a mess. They're a giant mess on camera or on microphone, and people love it. They don't love them, they don't like them, but they love to not like them, and so they can't look away. And the more messy and horrible they are on camera, or the bigger of an embarrassment they make of themselves, the more money they make. It's hard to turn away from that.
Well, yeah. Well, and again, we're not advocating for anything extreme, right? I think of the people who are who have made a little bit of a name for themselves in our pocket little world called podcasts, and it's people who say some pretty terrible things, but they know that enough people agree with them, and they make enough people angry that they hate listen, and they hate watch. And they're like, well, he does this and promoting that. You're making this, that, and the other thing. It's well, yeah, they know that.
Yeah, that's true. I guess there's kind of there's two kinds of content that becomes popular because it's controversial. I'm putting that in quotes. Yeah. One, because it actually is controversial, because some people agree with these opinions, but it's very distasteful to most people.
Right.
And the other one is they really are just a mess. Nothing they're saying anyone would agree with or thinks is good, but they just keep saying it because, I don't know, they get really drunk before they get on the microphone. They get really drunk before they get in front of the camera, and people just love watching them be a mess. And I think I think those people actually, people are more interested, I think, in hate watching or hate listening because it's sort of it's just nonsense, than maybe hate watching or hate listening controversial stuff, because that's ooh, this is real life. This is getting into my real feelings about real things. Whereas just watching someone just like say the worst stuff that nobody would agree with is like, okay, ridiculous.
Now, my only examples though for like where people are really eager to follow those who are just, you know, sellers of hate.
Oh yeah, no, they do have those followers, which is what makes them uncomfortable for people, because it's not just like, oh, this guy's saying stuff that people are like, no, people follow this, people believe it. That is disturbing. Yeah,
and you know, there seems to be a growing market for that, right? Because I see it, at least I'll see it on YouTube, right? I'll see these people who are saying certain things that we wouldn't agree with or even bring up on our show, right? Because it's a little too extreme or a little too out there for us. Be like, well, I guess you can go that way, but that really hurts a bunch of people if you go that way, right? Like if you go with this type of mentality. But then you go online and you see them, and it's like 100,000 listens, or you know.
Yeah. But, you know, even when, like, podcasters and YouTubers who are critiquing them bring them up, mention them by name and whatever, they're sending them more listeners. So that's the tricky thing, too. So, like, you may want to criticize. You may want to be like, hey, did you hear so-and-so said this? But you're, like, giving them even more of a platform, which is hard because they should be criticized if they're saying hateful, hurtful things, if that's what this person is doing. Yeah. But it's hard to also not... It's hard to talk about them without helping them. Mm. Well, look, it's a weird cycle.
Yeah. Well, I think of like Howard Stern in the early years, right?
He was like a shock jockey.
He was a shock jock. Yeah. Well, in his early years.
Yeah, he really upset people for sure. But a lot of people thought he was hilarious and were like, yeah.
Well, people still do. I mean, the guy is still working. He still has millions of listeners, even though he's way more toned down.
He's
way toned
quite
down.
Old, isn't he?
He's in his 60s, yeah.
Oh, for some reason I thought he was kind of like older back in the day.
He was, I think. Well, he just looked older. Like he was, I mean, he had a movie called Private Parts in the 90s, and I think he was in his 30s then, so he's probably, How old is Howard Stern? Let's look it up.
Quite old. Well, actually, 60s is not old. I thought he was much older than that. I thought he was like in his
almost
90s.
70. He's 68.
Okay, that's not really old. Yeah. I thought he was like in his 90s or something, which, you know, you can be a very healthy 90s and nobody would really think that just looking at you, you know?
That's true. No, he's almost 70, which is still pretty old. That's still up there. But so like, you know, people like that where they never really lost their audience, but he as a person has changed. He's not a shock jock so much anymore. He's more of just like an older guy who just talks about
I think
stuff.
It probably is hard to keep that energy going into your later years.
Well, yeah, and your values change as you get older, right?
Your values change, and I think it just, you know, probably are less... Well, I guess I shouldn't say that. You can be older and be very, very riled up about little things, but...
Well, it wasn't that, but he wasn't that he was angry. He would make, you know, he was very much like, I have a porn star who's sitting on a chair that's shaking. Like, here, let's go watch her do this stuff. And it's like, that's shocking, right? That's, really? That's shocking.
Who am I thinking of? I thought there was like somebody on the radio who just like yelled a lot.
No.
Maybe that's not him.
Howard Stern was not that. Howard Stern was
He wasn't the yeller?
No,
okay.
He was the guy who would, like, make fun of, you know, people with disabilities.
Okay, well, that's not great.
Yeah, but back in the 90s or, you know, whatever.
That's true.
You know, that was typical. True. And he doesn't do that anymore. He does fart jokes and stuff now, which is much more tame, but, you know, it's fine.
Yeah, so not really a lot of people are going to get away with disability jokes these days.
No, not anymore. But yeah,
not okay.
But there were, you know, there was a lot of angry. But the people who are really angry were like a bunch of conservative radio people who died like in the last decade. So they're not around anymore. Most of them.
Maybe that's what I'm thinking of.
Like Rush Limbaugh and you know, who I think had passed away recently. and just a couple of others were just like, "Hey, all the people are terrible, and why are they smelling my poo or something?" I don't know. Well, they weren't doing that, like, just yelling at everyone.
Maybe I'm just mixing up all these old radio people together in my memory.
Yeah, well, radio was different back then. Yeah, definitely. Not everyone was a Ryan Seacrest, right? Which the biggest scandal Ryan Seacrest was ever in. Again, to me, Ryan Seacrest, I don't know why anyone listened to him ever. He's boring to me personally, but he does a lot of stuff that people find interesting. He did a bit called Ryan's Roses. Have you heard of Ryan's Roses? I don't know if you have. If it was,
no.
Okay. So Ryan's Roses was a way was supposedly a setup to where a person would call their like their husband or girlfriend or something. It was usually husband or boyfriend, and be like, "Hey, we have you won this thing where you can send free flowers to somebody. Who would you like to send it to?" And it was a way to catch them to see if they were cheating on their wife or their girlfriend, right?
Oh, I love it.
Right?
I love it. So spicy.
And everyone believed it was real. And it's like, that's illegal in California. You can't tell them it's a trick. They have to know what the deal is when you call them. So if you call them for a bit, they have to know it's a bit. And they have to know that it's set up. But people, right.
I thought he was really catching cheaters.
No, sadly it wasn't. But people did for many, many years. And even after it was revealed, like, you can't do that stuff. They're like, it sounds real. It's like, yeah, because they're actors. And it's meant to sound real. Like, it's meant to sound really real.
So you get all this, like, excited about all this justice happening, and then they're like, no.
No. Yeah. Yeah. But they would, yeah. Well, but when you listen to it, trust me, because people were told this for a long time, and they're like, nope, we still believe it's real. And it's like, it's impossible. It's illegal for it to be real. But they didn't care, because it sounded real. And the drama felt real, because there was yelling, and there was crying, and there was, like, drama. Like, oh, what? Oh, no, you didn't. Oh, yes, you did. Stuff like that. So, anyway, that's not us. In the end, I say all that to say that wasn't us, right?
No, but I did like prank call shows back in the day.
Oh, like Crank Anchors and
some radio shows, but now I think they're all fake.
If they're done here, they are. But if they're done anywhere else, they're not. Only in California. Because in California is the one where you have to, both parties has to know what's going on type deal.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, they're probably all fake.
That reality TV, though, something that you love to some degree.
Yeah, but I know reality TV is fake. Like, I watch, I'm like, okay, they told them to sit there and talk about this. But the prank phone call sounded so real.
Have you ever pranked phone called anyone?
I don't think so. I mean, yeah, I don't think so. Even as a kid.
Once, yeah, as a kid I did it once. To Baskin Robbins asking if they had a rocky road. And then
but they do.
And they should go out there and pave it.
So...
or of course everyone's favorite, is your refrigerator running? Well, you better go out there and chase it. Yeah, all that silly stuff. But yeah, I think...
or how about, is your refrigerator running? Yes. Well, I hope you're using alternative clean energy. And then you hang up.
God, that's not a prank. That's how did Greta Grunberg get our number? Oh man. We better change it. That and I made the Baskin Robbins phone call when phone books were a thing. We had to look it up in the phone book to be able to call Baskin Robbins to give them that stupid prank call. So
yeah, but phone books were crazy. They were very useful for other things too.
It was when everyone was perfectly fine putting exactly where they live in a piece in a book where anyone can find it. Like, oh, you want to know where I live? Here you go. Now it's like, don't tell anyone where I live. Don't dox me, man. Don't dox me.
You can still find it pretty easy, but
some places you can, yeah.
But like, you could use a phone book as a booster seat,
you could.
Or if you're super angry and super strong, you can prove how strong and angry you are.
Have you ever? I feel like there's a story. You've torn one apart, haven't you, Sarah?
How would I even do that?
Your anger was translated into Herculean strength. Herculean strength. Yes,
Herculean. Can anybody do that? Can anybody actually rip a phone book in half?
I mean, there's somebody who probably can do it. I mean, it's probably a really strong person. But
this is like how you can't fold a paper a certain number of times. Like, it just can't be done.
No, this is the weirdest final episode of a podcast I've ever done for anything ever.
Really?
Because we're talking about folding paper and like tearing phone books apart. Like, really?
Well, you know how like they're always trying to like set the new record for how many times a piece of paper was folded, and they'll get like a piece of paper that's the size of like a plane bunker or whatever, because you can only fold it so many times before it becomes like so thick and like tight and small you can't fold it anymore. So, I'm gonna look this up. You're looking at me like, what are you even talking about?
I believe you. I just like,
you can
I don't
fold
know.
paper a million times.
Well, no, I believe you because I did that once. There was like, I mean, yeah,
not the big one.
No, it's just a 8.5 by 11. But you know, there's always that challenge, right? Well, because also that's how you know, in high school, that's how you gave each other letters, was you folded it in the most elaborate and craziest of ways.
Yeah, but in 2002,
oh jeez,
Brittany Gallivan managed to fold a 1.2 kilometer long piece of tissue paper 12 times, and that's
only
the
12?
limit. They say, in theory, 26 folds of a piece of paper would make the paper thicker than the height of Mount Everest.
Wait, what? Really?
See, it's crazy. You're like, folding notes, whatever. No, this is serious business, okay? Put away the notes and get like the mile-long tissue paper.
Oh, okay. Well, all right.
Yeah, this is serious. This is like a teeny tiny number, and it's like impossible to go higher than that.
Single ply paper, I'm hoping, because
tissue paper. She used
tissue paper.
I'm sure she went as thin as she possibly could, and still have it be 1.2 kilometers long.
That's that's insane.
And only 12 times she was able to fold it.
Yeah. That doesn't... I have to see this now, because I can't wrap my head around it, because that seems so few. That seems like that's too small a number.
It's not very much. They get a bunch of people to, like, grab the ends and, like, pull it over to the other end. And then a bunch of other... I've seen it in, like, a video where they were trying to break the record.
I think the only record I've ever seen broken was, like, the world's largest pizza or something like that. Or whatever.
You saw it, like, in person?
No, not in person.
Oh.
No, I saw the video of it. I haven't seen any record breaking in person. Yeah, nobody's ever wanted to break a record in front of me, I guess. But I've never
or
been
when
there.
You were in the vicinity, it would be cool to be around the world's biggest pizza.
No.
I saw a picture of the world's longest nails. They were so gross.
Oh yeah, the ones that curl into themselves and everything. Yeah.
Just like carry them in a bag. Oh.
Yeah. Well,
gross.
Nowadays, I don't think anyone even wants to do that, right? Like, nobody wants the world's... Like, nobody's trying to get Guinness records of anything, are they? Maybe they still are.
I think if you're good at something or something... You have something like a lot of it, then you might be like, what's the world record? Let me see.
Yeah, but now people are making stuff up, right? Like, oh, I want to be the world's fastest, basketball dribbler while also bouncing on a pogo stick in a room the size of a walnut, like, or whatever, right? Like, right? Like, they're making up these really weird...
in a room the size of a walnut. I think that alone is a world record.
Okay, maybe that's a record worth breaking, because that seems more than impossible. But
I'm sure the Guinness book has some like guidelines because they probably get a lot of those. Probably like, look, you can't just put a bunch of stuff together. Be like, I'm the first one who ever did this, so I'm setting the record.
All right. So, according to this is the latest news from the GuinnessWorldRecords.com website. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
This isn't new. This is like from 2020, so this is 2 years old. But apparently, 22-year-old Gino Wolf is the new world's oldest dog.
Aww.
At 22 years, a little Chihuahua-looking thing. Very cute-looking dog, actually.
Cutie.
Doesn't look 22 years old, actually. But by then, you can't see or hear anymore. World's tallest man celebrated their 40th birthday the other day, I guess, on the 10th of December, so that's pretty recent. There you go.
Mm-hmm.
World's tallest
man.
There you go. At 8 feet,
yeah.
2.5 inches. So there you go.
8 feet?
8 feet. Yep.
Holy moly.
Yeah. Another Endo the Blind is a horse without eyes who achieved 3 world records. Anyway. So there you go.
There you go.
See, here's what I'm talking about in like now people are just making stuff up. This is the last one. Okay. Perma-stunned break. That's the name of the person or group. It's a group of people called Perma-stunned. Breaks record as largest esports team for people with disabilities. Like
that's not that weird.
Yeah, that's not like okay.
I mean, that's not like the largest esports team for disabled people who all have the same first name and, live in a tiny house the size of a walnut together.
Right. Oh man! Well, I'm glad the room the size of a walnut has stuck with you.
It has. I'm not going to be able to stop thinking about that.
Oh, I kind of want to send this to you. There's not many downsides, but it says man with the world's longest tongue. Okay. It says there's no downsides to having the world's longest tongue. Says here the ladies sure are happy. Wait, what? No, I'm just kidding. He didn't say that.
Well, I mean,
they would be.
That's probably what he means when he says there's no downside.
But anyway, there's a bunch of silly records on here that are just a couple with the most body modifications. Anyway, again, I hope we need to win the world's record of the most tangents or longest we didn't talk about anything relationship wise on a show all entirely about relationships.
While living in a room the size of a walnut. God, I'm looking at my wall now. I'm like, maybe someday I'll have a house and I'll just drill a little walnut sized room in the wall. And I'll put a door on it.
There is a book. Is it a book stop or something? You'll see it on Facebook or something. It's like a weird ad for like these things that you could put in your bookshelf. That as you zoom in, it looks just like this little rectangular space between books. But as you zoom in, it looks like an alleyway for a city. It's lit up. It has like neon lights. It looks like it's a lived-in space. A part of a city. You can do that with your walnut.
Yeah.
You have the little hole in the wall. It's like people are like, what's that hole? That walnut-sized hole in the wall of your house.
And there'll be a little walnut inside, and he'll be on a little couch, and he'll be having like a cup of coffee.
Oh, I thought the room was going to be the size of the walnut. There's going to be a walnut in the walnut-sized room.
It'll be a smaller walnut.
A smaller walnut inside the walnut-sized room, just chilling on the couch watching a Nikocado avocado.
Watching a bee fight.
Why the bee fight?
Have you ever seen like bee spider fights? They're so interesting.
I've seen
like in a window or something.
Not in a window, but I've seen it on TV. Like I've seen it on nature channels and stuff. Yeah.
Oh, I've seen it in real life a couple times. It's pretty fascinating.
Which is more fascinating, that or the one video of the gecko running away from all the snakes from that one nature video that like made the rounds a few years back?
I didn't see that
was
one,
it a gecko,
but
or what was it? The one running away from the snakes. It was like a little like squirrel or something running away from snakes. You never saw it?
I don't remember that.
Man. Hold on, I have to find it for you.
I did see a video of a lizard running away on its hind legs, but it was like at a school. It was like in a school gymnasium, and there was like a circle of kids and a teacher, and the lizard's just like running out of the circle towards the door, like on his hind legs.
Oh, well, that's cute then, at least.
I was like, I'm out of here. That's what I thought you were talking about.
No, it's an iguana chased by killer snakes.
Ah.
And it's from a Planet Earth 2. And you get to see it. Like the iguana is running and you just see a sea of snakes.
Oh,
just chasing after it. But it makes it away. But you're it's harrowing because it's like, oh my God, is it going to make it out? Is it going to get away? And obviously,
I guess it's good to know it gets away because I hate how a lot of times they don't in those things.
Yeah, spoiler alert, I guess.
No, that's good. I would rather they get away. I would rather only watch documentaries where they get away.
Well, that's why it was so fun to watch and why it was viral, because it's like, it looks like this iguana is not going to make it. The whole time, from the moment it starts running, you're like, this iguana's dead. And somehow, miraculously, survives the snake attack. Anyway. Like love. It's us running away from all of our suitors. The snakes are our suitors, and we're the little iguana running away from them.
That's just what love is like.
That's just what love is like. Exactly. Anyway, so we're making our way out. So we're going to do some housekeeping, and we're going to do our final. Right cow, left cow. You're like, well, wait a minute. Where's the question segment? No questions. We are not doing questions, even though I believe I even got one from Anthony, I think. But it was a while ago, and I just never asked it. Yeah, but I should have put it here.
We need more time for tangents.
Yeah, so the rest of the show after, because Right Cow has consistently every episode has asked us something, or at least commented, send us an email. He doesn't always ask questions, but usually writes us every episode just to let us know that he's listening. This will be our last Right Cow, Left Coast Corner forever. Until I do another podcast, and then he'll write into that, and I'll probably answer him there. But for this particular one, this is it. So, Sarah, what questions can we answer for this young man?
Okay, one of his questions is, can you speak to depression and the holiday period?
No. There is a thing called seasonal depression, right? When the weather changes and it gets darker. And
seasonal affective disorder, a.k.a. sad.
A.k.a. being sad because it's dark. I'm the opposite. I love it when it's dark. But the only thing I can speak to it is that's what I'm feeling now, at the very least. I'm like, I may not sound it, because we're talking about lizards running away from snakes and like walnut-sized rooms. But, like it's been pretty, I mean, again, it's the last episode, so I don't feel so hesitant to even talk about this kind of stuff. But yeah, it's been pretty bad. Depression's been really, really hard this holiday season. So much so that even now, even though you're listening to this Christmas weekend, it's still a couple weeks out for us, and I hate everything Christmas/holidays right now.
Oh.
Like, I am not even remotely near the holiday spirit at all. Like, I have none of it, and it's really bumming me out.
My gosh, I need to order that gift.
There you go.
I haven't ordered the Secret Santa gift yet.
Oh,
I'm just going to write it down.
Yeah. Here you go, an update, as she has talked about the Secret Santa gift for the last 3 episodes. Now you get an update. I
keep thinking, I'll just do it tomorrow, and I just need to do it.
Yeah, I actually bought I actually ended up buying some more stuff for my little secret gift. I've decided to make a potted plant with the UK candies, and then I'm going to surround it with the origami flowers. So
I love
it's
it.
Gonna be it's going to be a bouquet of candy and flowers, and that's the gift that they get.
That's awesome. And you don't know who's getting it?
No, it's just, I think it's a surprise. Yeah, I think it's just a gift exchange of some sort. Yeah,
fun.
So that'll be fun. But
I can't wait to hear about it.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, because guess what? Even though the podcast is over, Sarah and I are still going to have conversations.
We're still going to meet up and chat.
Yeah, and chat. So, oh well, sorry guys, you don't get to hear that stuff. But yeah. So I'm feeling it now, and it's tough. It's it's not easy. I don't know about you. You seem to be okay because you're like, I gotta buy gifts, and I bought gifts today, so I guess that's not too different. But
I've got other stuff going on right now that's like not exactly making me the jolliest holiday elf there ever was, but it's probably not holiday specific, but it's also like, it does make me think of, the holidays past.
Yeah. Yeah. No,
I think. Yeah. What's that?
No, go on.
And I think the seasonal affective stuff is real.
It is.
And the darkness. But, I mean, also, I'm contracting for this, corporate events, like, game company right now. So they're having me do some more work.
So you're busy.
Yeah. And like being around people who were having fun, which is kind of nice.
Yeah, no, that's usually pretty good. It rubs off a little bit, that kind of
and I'm
energy.
Like I'm helping to facilitate that fun by being a quote unquote like
coordinator.
Trainee game master. So
nice.
Yeah.
I like it.
So yeah, I'm like helping them have a good time, hopefully.
Yeah.
And that's nice.
Yeah. Look, it's a good time here. It'll be a good time there as well. So no doubt about it. I have no fear that it'll be fun times all around for the people of whom you have to game master. But
of whom I have to game master.
Yeah.
Of
Isn't
whom
that the
I
verb
have
of
to
it?
master.
You master the games.
I don't really. Right now I'm probably just going to be like helping people give hints, like set up and clean up. But then during the actual games, like helping people with hints.
So in other words,
they can't figure it out.
You kind of like, you're baiting them into a trap, sort of, right?
I'm baiting them into. No, I'm just like, how's it going, guys? And I'm like, oh, we can't figure this out. And then I'll be like, maybe you should try.
Oh, you're baiting them towards the answer. I see. Okay.
Well, they tell me if they want help. If they don't want help, I won't give it to them.
At all. All right. Well, you would have been a masturbator then. So
that's all you were looking for. You were trying to make that happen, no matter what.
I'll do my best. Doing my best. Trying hard. Got to get those in there. That's what she said. Anyway, moving on.
As long as you aren't a procrastinator.
Never. Never.
Oh, come on. You never haven't wanted to do something, so you decide to do that instead?
Oh, that's a good point. I'm not going to argue that. I'm not going to lie to you on that one. Anyway, so yeah, I guess just to kind of wrap that up. Yeah, I know. Luckily, Sarah will be around people. I wish I could have that. I think maybe that'll help. But seeing couples and that stuff kind of also is a little saddening too, because it's like, again, the holidays very coupley part of the year. A lot of romantic comedies based off of the holidays coming out now, which isn't here or there. But it is a lot of like, hey, the expectation is that you're sharing the holidays with someone you love, and it's not just family; it's also someone you want to do other stuff with. So it's that's tough too. Though I do wonder because I did encounter this today, and I tweeted about it earlier today. I don't get it. So I was in line, ready to buy the rest of this gift that I'm making, and there's a fairly young couple in front of me. They look like maybe late teens, early 20s. And the girlfriend's up on her boyfriend, hugging him and everything, and she says to him, while looking at him, she says to him, "I see you in my mind. I can see you with my eyeballs," or something to that effect, right?
What?
Hold on, I wrote it down. I wrote down when it happened, and I think I'm not saying it properly. Hold on.
I can see you with my eyeballs.
This is exactly what she said. Okay, it says, "I see you in my mind. I can see you on each of my eyeballs." And I'm like, yeah, because you're looking at him.
That is the weirdest thing I've ever heard.
Is that supposed to be sweet? Like, I don't understand what that's supposed to be. I can see you
on both of my eyeballs?
I can see you in my mind. I can see you on each of my eyeballs.
On each of my eyeballs?
Yes. She says this while looking at him, while holding him. And I'm like, yeah. And I just wrote in my little tweet, it's like, did I ever say, I didn't say stupid, but I wanted to. Did I ever say stupid stuff like this when I was younger? Like, oh, because this is stupid.
You know what?
What?
She's probably looking into his eyes or his glasses and seeing the reflection and seeing her reflected back on her own eyeballs?
My point
Wait
exactly.
a minute.
Yeah. Which is why it's stupid. And she seemed kind of like normal, right? Like she didn't say anything like that afterwards because we were in line for a while. You know, she's like, "Oh, well, you gotta wait," and blah blah. But it sounded like that was supposed to be a sign of affection. It's like her way of being like, "Oh, you know, I can see you on each of my eyeballs," and it's like,
you know what? Just eyeballs shouldn't be part of any romantic sentiment.
Yeah. No, I don't think so either. So anyway. So seeing that was like, well, at least I don't have that, I guess. At least I don't have to, you know. Again, I couldn't wrap my head around it. I was looking around to see if anyone else heard, and everyone else was just standing there, kind of bored. But I'm like, she just said that out loud. That doesn't weird anyone else out except me. Like, am I the only one?
So specific. It's like, I love you so much, it brings me to my kneecaps.
Right.
Like eyes and knees can have romantic connotations, but eyeballs and kneecaps, like just too specific.
Yeah. It's like, oh man, I love the way you feel around my elbow joints. It's like, that's awesome, I think.
Yeah.
It's like, oh yeah, because you're wrapping your arm around somebody, so there's the elbow joint. I get it. Like, I get the idea of it. But I love having
you on my upper appendage.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I love the way you make my vertebrae curve. It's like, okay. Anyway.
My eyeballs.
My eyeballs. Yes. So, yeah, I wrote it. I made sure the moment it happened, like in front of them, I just took my phone out and started typing so I'd remember what they said. Because I just thought it was the weirdest
You should have said it to her. You should be like, I'm scared. Sorry, did you just say you can see him on your eyeballs?
Yeah. On each of your eyeballs? It's like,
on each of your eyeballs.
Like, yeah. I mean, that's the function. I mean, it's good to know your eyes are functioning properly, but...
She's like, ma'am, I work for Hallmark, and I would like to buy that phrase from you for one of our cards, because that is beautiful.
Yeah. You make my aorta... So you make my aorta swell. Just like my... Anyway. All right, what's the next question?
Okay. He says, looking forward, can you do a guide to relationships and Valentine's Day and White Day?
I really wish that, like, the U.S. kind of accepted the concept of a White Day, right? Because I do think, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, Sarah, but I feel like Valentine's Day is fairly female centric, right?
Honestly, I've always done. Me and my partners do stuff for each other. And all the people I know in relationships, at least people I'm close to, they do stuff for each other. So I don't know anyone where the day is about the woman.
Well, I don't know how many men necessarily care as much about...
Well, they pretend to care when they get the stuff.
Touché.
They at least pretend, which is the right thing to do when someone does nice things for you. But most of the guys I've been with have really... I genuinely believe they enjoyed the stuff I bought and or did for them.
Right.
So...
Yeah. No, I agree. When it had been it's been many years, but my ex-wife was the last person to do Valentine's Day for me. Mm-hmm. My ex-girlfriend, my latest girlfriend, did not do Valentine's Day. She didn't believe in it. She felt like if you're going to give someone a gift, you give it on every other day, not on a day that was kind of expected or demanded that type of attention.
Anti-Valentine's Day.
Yeah, she was very anti-Valentine's Day. But anyway, my ex-wife was fine doing anniversaries and Valentine's Day stuff, right? So it's been a very long time since I've done Valentine's Day as an event, but there's not much of a. I mean, Sarah and I don't know if we can really give much of a guide to Valentine's Day, other than, I don't know.
Well, the last relationship I was in, where I was actually in a relationship when Valentine's Day came around, was actually like 5 years ago.
Okay.
Honestly, I don't really remember much of what we did on that day always, but I will say I had an ex from before that, and he loved like the gift giving stuff. He loved to gift giving was a very fun event for him.
Oh, okay.
So I remember when Valentine's Day, he was like, I just don't have a lot of money this year. I don't even know if I'll be able to get you a card. And I was like, that's totally fine. Don't worry about it. He was like, I'm sorry. He was like, so don't get me, he was like, maybe if you want to get me a card, okay, but don't get me stuff. And I was like, okay. And so I felt, I'm going to get him a card. I'm not trying to make him feel bad, but I'm going to get him a card. Mm-hmm. So I did. And then he called me when I was at work, and I came downstairs to the lobby, and I saw him coming across the street, and he was carrying the entire drugstore worth of Valentine's Day stuff.
Oh, that's cool. That's very nice.
And he came in, and I was like, you jerk, you said you weren't going to get me anything, and I didn't want to get you stuff because I don't want to make you feel bad. He was like, I know I tricked you. And
no!
I tricked you. A card and some chocolate, and that's all I got you. And he was like, ha ha ha. And he I had armfuls of this red and pink stuff, candy and little stuffed animals and all this gushy stuff. And I brought it upstairs with me to work, and everyone was like, oh my God. And that was his thing. He loved what a big thing it was, and how he impressed everyone I knew, and made me tricked me so that I didn't get him barely anything.
I like that philosophy, though. I mean, I
do like it, but I thought it was so sweet. But I was like, seriously though, I don't want to not get you stuff because you tricked me and feeling like it would make you feel bad if I got you stuff. But I was like, but this one time it was a very nice surprise and it was very sweet. But from now on, let's just be honest about it.
Yeah.
It was nice though.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I mean, I like that idea simply because, for me, and I want to say my ex did this. My ex-wife did this. I have an unnatural love for the conversation hearts, which nobody likes. It's like the candy corn of Valentine's Day.
Oh God, they're so gross.
Yeah, they're the candy corn of Valentine's Day. But I like them. I like the powdery, sugary candy hearts. I don't know why. I have no idea why.
Chalk.
Yeah, it's just chalk. It literally is chalk. It dissolves in your tongue like chalk. But I love it. And I remember vaguely, because it's been so long, but I remember vaguely, like, that was it. That's what I got for Valentine's Day. And that was more than it. That's all I ever wanted, really, is the little conversation hearts. Like, that was perfect. So sometimes it's just, sometimes guys like us, we don't really need that much. I guess if I ever start dating again, I'll have to point them into this, and I'm as seriously considering a relationship with somebody, but like, listen to this podcast. You'll understand me. You'll understand me and my ways when you listen to this podcast. So.
Well, I think you don't have to go. This was just what he liked to do. He liked to go overboard. I don't think
I don't
have
think
to do it all.
No.
It's sweet if that's what you like to do. It will like make your partner be like, oh my God, as long as this doesn't like embarrass them or something, which it didn't for me. But I will say it's a good idea to talk to your partner before the holiday to find out, like, your first one, to find out what they like to do, what they want to do. If you don't really like Valentine's Day, but your partner's all about it, just do something for them,
Right. I agree.
Like, I know people have, like, these principles about the holiday. Yes, it is just to sell cards and candy.
That's it.
Much of our society is about consumerism.
Yeah.
That's what it is. But, we also attach meaning to all kinds of things in the world that don't have inherent meaning. So if it means a lot to your partner, it would be nice if you just, reciprocate what they want to do for you. I think.
And I don't know if I forgot. I've done an episode about Valentine's Day before. So fortunately we never got to that episode here. We started in May, so it was way after. I had to look. I'm like, did we start early enough to Valentine's Day? We did not. But I feel like a day that kind of celebrates. It's not very often we have a day that reminds people, hey, by the way, you live a busy life. You have all this stuff going on in it sometimes. Maybe you have kids. Maybe you have, like, a bunch of responsibilities. It's nice that there's a day in the year that taps you on the shoulder and says, oh, by the way, don't forget. You have this person of whom you're in love with. Here's a day that we all kind of nationally celebrate together. Just remember to do something on this one day, And then you can be busy and overwhelmed the rest of the year. But this year, this one day of the year, outside of her birthday or his birthday, just kind of remember, like, there's a thing that you need to do. So, anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, it's nice. I mean, if both of you hate it, then don't worry about it.
Yeah.
But
I it was easy. I was flexible enough where my last girlfriend, she was like, I don't like it. I don't want to celebrate. I'm like, that's fine. I don't need to. So it's not a requirement on my end. So that's perfectly fine not doing that. But yeah, as for White Day, again, nobody's going to adopt. The U.S. is never going to adopt White Day because it's done on Valentine's Day. Valentine's Day is for both the men and women. It's not just one or the other, like in Japan, where it's one or the other. So just celebrate on that day. Yeah.
It's a clever way, though. I feel like you probably do sell more if you split it up into 2 days.
Well, for a while before it became a consumer day, China had a singles day, a day where they celebrate being single.
Hey, gotta buy all your single friends presents.
It was, I think it was to buy yourself some. I don't know. It was, again, it turned into a consumer holiday, but it used to be just like, hey, here's this one day where we recognize that there's a lot of single people out there, and we want to recognize that, it's not just for the couples. Single people are cool too. So thanks.
Thanks, guys.
You're the best.
I feel special.
Some restaurants give you like a free meal on your birthday. If you go to that restaurant and tell them it's your birthday, they'll give you a free meal. I think if you're single, you should be able to go to, like, on a day in the year, just one day out of the year. Which I want to remember it wasn't called Singles Day. I forget what it was called, but what?
Sorry, continue. I had a really good idea though.
All right. Well, I was just gonna say that you get that they treat you to a meal on a day that you're single. That's all. What's your brilliant idea?
Oh my God.
Go for it.
You get like a discount wedding gown or like wedding tux and you show up to a restaurant just wrecked. And you're like, I was just stood up at the altar. Free food.
Well, free a lot of things, really, actually.
Yeah. Then hit the bar.
You will be so taken care of on a day like that. You will be spoiled to death on a day like that.
And it's my birthday.
No, don't push it. Oh man, don't push that.
And my Nana just died.
Right, exactly. It's like, oh man, my dog got run over, and like, oh man, and I got fired from my job. Just
by my fiance. She was my boss.
My fiance. Oh yeah, my fiance took me at the altar. But also, and also gave me my 2 weeks notice, and also, so please, yeah. And you're wearing the sash, right, or whatever. No, I guess you'd just be wearing the wedding dress. Just the wedding dress. I mean, it's a brilliant idea,
isn't it?
Yeah, I think you can get away with it. Anyway, I was trying to figure out what the significance of Singles Day was, and I finally found out what it was. It's on 11/11, on November 11th, so it's 1/1/1/1, so Single Day.
Oh, so single.
So single. Very smart.
So very, very single. Remember how single you are, singles.
Yeah. One.
There's just one of you.
One is the loneliest number, as that song says.
But two can be as bad as one.
The loneliest number is the number one. Let's sing some more lyrics. So there's this song. There's a song that is sung by Michael Bublé. Well, it's a cover of a song. I don't know who did it originally. It's called "Alone Again Naturally," right? Mm-hmm. And if you ever hear "Alone Again Naturally," or I think it's just called "Alone Again," the original song by Gilbert O'Sullivan is kind of upbeat. It's like, it's very like, it's not sad. But if you ever hear the Michael Bublé, I forget the other person who sings it with him, if you ever hear that version of it, it is the most it is a perfect Singles Day song.
Yeah.
But like the very first verse is about how this guy got dumped at the altar, decides to climb a tower so he can throw himself off the tower and kill himself in front of the congregation that went to his wedding.
Lovely.
that he got stood up on. But then the twist is, because he got left behind, the people at the wedding are like, well, I guess there's no wedding anymore, and leave. And he's like, I guess I should just leave too, because no one's here to see me kill myself. I guess I'll just go home.
Jeez,
it's super
that's
depressing.
The song?
This is an actual song. It's really depressing.
So he's so alone, there's not even any point to killing himself.
Exactly. That was how alone it was, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah.
Whoever wrote that song was very, very, very sad.
But again, if you hear like it's like, I think it's a 70s song. Yeah, it's kind of like poppy and like upbeat, and it's really weird if you hear the real lyrics. It's like, this is really upbeat for a really sad song. But there's a lot of music like that. Anyway, speaking of music, thank you again, Ray Calicos. I want to say a huge thank you for always writing in every single week, for listening every single week. We really do appreciate it.
We love you.
We love you. And thank you for like letting us be there to hopefully help out. I know, it has these last few months have been really, really difficult for you. And yet you continued, despite everything, writing in, letting us know how you're feeling, letting us know where you are, and allowing us to be able to be active in trying to help out in some way, shape, or form, and providing you some advice or some information or whatever, or some support in some way, shape, or form. And we were able to do that for 34 episodes. I think since episode 1, you've been writing in, and maybe not episode 1 because you didn't write in. You can't write in for a show that didn't exist yet, but since episode 2, I think you've been writing in. So thank you so much, Ray Left Coast.
Yeah, thank you. Really enjoyed your questions.
Yeah, you always gave us a ton of them, and
yeah,
And don't worry,
good, thoughtful.
Yeah, some of them are pretty deep. Where we're like, oh my god, these are like real brain teasers, real testing our IQ on being able to answer these questions properly. But worry not, right, Cal? If you're like, well, where am I going to write to Francis next? I'm certain in the next year, I'll probably start another show somewhere about something. You never know. But knowing me, I can't stop. I'm constantly trying to be the next Foodie Beauty or something. And
do you love Foodie Beauty?
No, I don't know. I still get all of my information about Foodie Beauty from you. So you're my.
She's one of those people who just. She gets drunk and then she does the content and then people like watching the mess.
Yeah. Hey, look. I mean, yeah, I don't know. I just never could get into those types of YouTubers or shows or anything. Like, I can't do it. I don't know why. I feel like, you know why? I do know why, actually. I do know why.
Why?
I'm one of those people who cringes at people being embarrassed or people making fools of themselves. I feel it myself. Like, I feel bad for them, even though they're doing it to themselves in a way, right? Like, they're putting themselves in those scenarios to kind of be ridiculed and made fun of. And I always feel like, I cringe, and I'm like, oh, I
don't know how to describe it. It's not like, you're kind of almost like someone who's acting kind of foolish.
Right.
That's not kind of what this is.
It's a little bit, isn't it?
She more
a train wreck.
She more is like mean to people and very smug, and it makes them angry.
Oh, well, that's even worse.
She does do some cringeworthy things. Then when people like call her out on it, she's quite mean to them back, and yeah, she just starts all these like feuds with other content creators.
Yeah. Oh, I don't know. I mean, more power to them. Look, I understand why they're popular. I understand why people like that are popular. I get it. But oh man.
I love it. Content creator feuds. They're awesome.
And there's a lot of them. I'm not going to lie. Especially when the beef makes its way onto social media, and I'm just like, huh. Why are these two beefing? Like, what's going on here? Why did they have a falling? Why did they have a falling out? I do get curious. I do want to know why it happened. I do want to know, like, oh, these guys are like at each other's throats. I should probably go down the rabbit hole and find out what the hell happened.
Yeah.
But, yeah, it's easy to do that. So, here we are. We're at the end. What is the future of Miss Sara and Nade past the Is This Love podcast?
Well, I've been talking to you a little bit about what I'm doing. Besides the job doing the escape room stuff, I'm also trying to turn my designs into a little bit of a business. And love related, I've gotten back on the apps.
Oh no! On the app, huh?
Yes, wow. The apps.
And is it all it's cracked up to be, or have everything we've ever said on this episode about how it's such a pain to be on those things, is it coming to fruition?
It's pretty disappointing, to be honest.
Yeah. Now, do you think it's more disappointing now than it was, I don't know, a year ago when you were looking?
I don't remember being thrilled back then either. I don't know if I'm in the best mindset either. Like, I'm not very... And not being in a great mindset means I'm not super optimistic.
Sure. Do you think that affects who you choose when you're in the dating pool?
It's tricky. I mean, honestly, I don't think I've come across anyone where I'm like, oh yeah, but but I'm depressed right now, so no. I don't think that's happened.
Okay.
I think I tend to like more give people too much of a look. Like, there's a lot of things about this person I don't really like, but should I give them a chance? And I'm like, no, I disagree with them on like huge things. Why am I even thinking about this? Next,
Yeah, I mean, you're not that desperate yet to where you'll ignore those things.
I don't want to. There's certain things you just can't ignore. Like, you're fundamentally different.
Yeah.
And there's things where, I don't know, I just like get an energy like that they're very intense. I saw one guy, he seemed very, very,
Was he camping? What?
He seemed to have a lot of, and I'm not saying this like a negative thing. He seemed to have like a lot,
okay, yeah.
a lot of masculine energy.
Okay.
Like a lot. Big guy with tons of tattoos and like all of his pictures were just like, wah. And that's cool. I would love to see him as a character in a TV show. Absolutely. And I would probably root for him.
Okay.
But I think that energy coming at me through the app screen, I was just like, that's so much more testosterone than I usually like to have in like my partners. Not that my partners are low in testosterone, but there's like that aura. There's like a lot of it coming through.
Yeah, I'm with you.
You know what I mean? He's just like an extreme guy, likes extreme sports and like hunting and football and all these tattoos and it's just like.
No, I get it.
Yeah.
I think that's really the hardest part about online dating, I think, is, they're often saying, hey, don't judge a book by its cover. But that's the whole point of online dating, is you have to judge the book by its cover. Even if they give you the cover is also their profile, right? Because they're not putting they're putting their best foot forward. They're not just saying, I like to kick puppies, which is maybe that's something they like to do. Who knows? But they're not going to put that on your profile, right? That's the stuff that you see underneath. But they're also not going to tell you. Sometimes they're like, well, I like to volunteer and I like to, I don't know, write poetry, right? Because they may think like, well, nobody's going to want to hear me talk about the fact that I like to write poetry. That's stupid. I'll take that out. Things like that, right? Like there's going to be things where in their mind they feel isn't appropriate dating profile fodder. And therefore it's a lot of surface stuff, like the walking, taking hikes and like walks on the beach. That's why it's so cliche, is because that's very surface level.
Yeah. I mean, you kind of get a feel for it too. Like this guy, and he's probably a lot of fun, but he likes, and I hate to gender it here, but he likes the man stuff, right. He likes the camping, the extreme sports, the beer, just, all the things. And then I see someone who's like, I like science and I like reading and I like, art. And I'm like, that's a little more my speed. Like,
right. The indoor stuff. Yeah.
Well, indoor stuff, we're like, we can go walking and stuff, but we don't have to go base jumping every other day.
I prefer to parkour when I get to the bathroom. I have to at least have 17 different obstacles I have to climb over or crawl under in order to get to the restroom. So yeah, and have to lift it over my head every single time. If I can't bench press you, I don't want to date you. But
Unfortunately, there are women who have all those same interests too, and that energy. Yeah. And so they will find someone who likes that stuff too. But
totally,
yeah, he seemed like a fun, maybe funny kind of person, but just like, whoa, so much, and like not kind of in the stuff that I like, and it kind of made me exhausted just looking and reading.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So some of them kind of come across with like these, just like auras of what they're into, what their life is like. And maybe it's a lot of like hunting and fishing and camping, which I don't really like to kill things myself. And camping is tricky. I already talked about that.
Right, yeah.
So what would I do? Be like, sorry, we're not going to do any of the things you love?
Yeah, that's true. I mean, yeah. Exactly, because he brings up those things in order to find someone who wants to do those things with him. So that, you kind of put on your profile the things that you want to be able to share with a partner versus something that, like, well, I could easily do by myself. I don't necessarily need a person around for that stuff. You normally don't put that on a profile. But... Yeah,
but it is important to, like, pay attention to, like, what is really important to them, because if you don't like that stuff, you're not going to have a good time. They want to be able to do things that they love with a partner. I did find a guy who said he's not interested in cohabitation or marriage.
Okay, so they just want to. You have your place, I have mine. That's the way we have a relationship.
Isn't that interesting?
It's not unheard of, but it is.
It's not unheard of, but it's pretty rare. Like I feel like that's a bit of a rare find. Somebody who'd be like, "Yeah, I don't want to live with you either."
Right. Well, yeah. I mean, I remember many years ago of a couple who they were married, but they had their own separate houses. They had their own separate, like, bank accounts, but they were married. They had the ring, and I don't know how. I mean, I'm guessing they just slept over each other's houses, and that was pretty much it. But then they had their own space most of the time, which I get. Like, I get that. If you're single long enough, you're used to having just your own space. It's hard to make a communal space if you've known just your own space for such a long time. So I get that, but that's interesting that this guy's like straight up, no cohabitation, no.
I mean, I think that's smart because he knows most people expect that at some point.
Yeah.
I can totally feel that being something where someone goes out with him and they're like, I'll change him.
Yeah.
I'll change his mind.
Yeah.
I think, when you've been single a long time, the thought of giving up some of your independence and your space is kind of scary. Mm-hmm. And I can see how some people would take it to a place where they're like, oh no, I can't do that. Or maybe they were in a relationship where they whatevered everything and ended up very traumatically for them when they split up.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that can happen. That's totally, yeah.
Yeah.
So I guess the question then becomes, right? Mm-hmm. Moving forward, since you're back on the dating scene, do you think there's anything that this podcast has helped you in kind of that process? Did doing any of this help at all? I mean, if it didn't, that's cool. You don't have to say it did, but I'm curious if it did or not. If it isn't, that's fine. Because again, it wasn't like we were asking anyone else for their advice. We were the ones giving it. So it's kind of like
I think it's made me more paranoid.
More paranoid, yeah.
I think it's made me more worried about also, like, those relationship forums. I had to stop looking at those. They're scary, man.
Yeah.
They're like, every other person is cheating or ghosting. And I mean, not like on a dating app. I mean, like, ghosting a relationship. Yeah. Abusing. What are the other ones? Just completely taking advantage of their partner. Like, they do nothing. And their partner is holding the whole thing up on their own.
Right. Oh, I feel like the internet, our ability to talk to other people online,
right? We all want to commiserate, right?
But it's encouraged this type of behavior, right? Yeah. Like, I feel like because if you ever go online and say, you know what, I'm thinking about cheating on my girlfriend, or I'm thinking of cheating on my boyfriend or whatever, right? You're going to get a bunch of people saying, yeah, just do it. Go for it. Like, right? Like, no one's going to stop them. There's going to be more people saying... Oh, my
gosh.
I think there's more people that are going to be like, yeah, because there's no consequence to the person saying it, right? It's not their relationship. But yet, they're going to encourage it because it's like, yeah, we want to see what happens, right?
Okay. There's a couple forums where people will do that, but even the anti-cheaters will sometimes seep into those ones, even though they're technically not welcome. But like on the majority of forums about relationships, if someone's like, I'm going to cheat, everyone's like, you piece of crap.
Really?
You deserve this, that, and the other. You are a terrible person. You should leave them so they can find someone better than you. People on there do not like cheaters, I have to say. Unless you go to the forum that's just for cheaters.
Well, right, which is probably where you're going to go, right? If you're thinking about it, what forum are you going to go more towards? The people who are going to say, like, especially if you're conflicted, where are you going to want to go towards? The people who are going to be like, yeah, you should do it, or the people who are going to be like, you're a terrible human being for doing it. You're going to go to the place that'll tell you, good job, but do it.
I tell you what, if they haven't been on Reddit for very long and they just stumbled across the relationship advice sub, they might ask in there, and then they'll learn.
Right. Hopefully, in a perfect world, they'll be shamed for thinking they could get away with doing certain things. But
well, yeah, I mean they will get shamed. There was, but the cheating forum it's not really people asking for advice. It's more just everyone talking about how amazing cheating is, how much fun it is, how much they love it. Yeah. And why should they feel bad about it? And sometimes also they really would be upset if their partner cheated, which is amazing to me.
Very rules for me and not for thee type of thing.
Oh my God, yes.
But we did, there's so many articles that we didn't end up doing on the show. One of them was like, hey, yeah, it's cool to cheat. It helps your mentality. Remember there was that one weird article that was like, cheating's great for women.
That's like... Okay, first of all, cheating's not great for anybody.
No.
If you cheat and you were unhappy in your relationship, but you cheat and you end up with the new person and you love them, well, then I guess it worked out for you. You were a terrible person, though.
Yeah.
Should have gone about that differently. But sometimes that happens. Sometimes, I will say the one time I think it's not the worst. And this is really specific, and because I actually know this situation, okay? Where a couple, someone's in a very unhappy marriage, their partner actually cheats on them, is cheating on them, and then they meet someone new.
Right, as a result. Yeah.
Doesn't treat them like garbage. Right. Like, this first person treats them like garbage and cheats on them.
Right.
And they meet someone new who doesn't treat them like garbage, then it's like, okay, yeah, then go be with that person and leave the other person. Right. I think that's fair.
And that's very specific. So,
yeah.
I don't know how often that actually happens.
Super unhappy marriage. Yeah. They're already the victim of cheating.
Right.
Then I think it's okay.
Yeah.
Right?
See,
and that is a specific set of circumstances.
This is why hundreds of thousands of people didn't download our episode, because we weren't saying you should just cheat because... A, you'll get away with it, and B, how awesome is it to feel liberated that you're cheating on your partner, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
Right? Like, this is
that's
why...
what that other forum is for.
Right. That's what that, which probably has more people in it than, like, the forum that's saying you shouldn't do it. Oh, man. But that, again, that's kind of what we're fighting against. This podcast... is fighting against the people who encourage bad behavior, because a lot of times bad behavior is encouraged. A lot of times bad behavior is applauded, especially online, especially in a place where you're anonymous, because again, it doesn't hurt you any, and you get to kind of live out your darker fantasies through somebody else. You're living vicariously through somebody else. If somebody's like, I really want to, I don't know, I'm trying not to think of anything too brutal, right? Too terrible. But like, again, another cheating scenario. Some girl is talking to me on the side, and I really shouldn't talk to her. She's like my coworker or something. And she's been hitting me up on our texts and stuff, and been texting me and everything. And I should probably just tell her to stop. But I really like it. What should I do? The average person, if it was like a person they knew, would probably tell them, yeah, don't stop it.
Don't do it, yeah.
Don't do it. But the anonymous people who are like...
Now, I'm telling you, the anonymous people will not be like, yeah, go for it. No, they will be, I mean, I don't know what place you go to, but, and like, the general relationship forum people, because they are generally a justice-y minded, bunch. They will be like, you need to leave your girlfriend.
Okay. Well, that gives me
she
hope,
can
then.
she can find someone better.
Yeah.
And they probably won't even say, so you can pursue this other person. They'll probably say, you should be single for a while. That's generally what they say. They should be like, they would probably say, you should leave her, or you should dump her so she can find someone who deserves her. And you need to be single for a while and figure yourself out. That's probably what they would say.
Okay. Well, that's I'm happy to hear that.
I mean, that's a little unrealistic, because if you do dump her, you're probably just going to go be with the coworker.
Right.
But the right thing to do is to break up with her and not have the affair.
Right.
If you like your coworker and don't want your relationship anymore.
So then, in general, it sounds like we are giving our show is giving the popular advice. The popular.
I think usually, yeah.
Okay. Because my impression, and I have very few things, I don't follow that stuff, so maybe that's my own problem. Like, and this may be just me projecting. I don't know. Even though I wouldn't want to do that bad stuff, but I feel like if I could get away with it, I guess I would. I don't know. I'm just assuming
if you could get away with cheating, you would?
No. Giving that advice to somebody else, like bad advice to someone, I guess I would give it. Like, I'm trying to think of why I feel like that would be the way people would go, right? Like, I'm trying to figure out. But
I mean, you could, but then other people would jump on your comment and be like, don't listen to this person.
Well, that's good. I'm really happy to hear that.
But if you just wanted to go, like, be a jerk anonymously online, of course, that's a lot of people use Reddit for that.
Well, yeah, that's true. Because I mean,
they call them trolls.
Yeah. Well, yes, and yeah, I can see that. Because I guess on topics that are non-relationship related, I'll see people kind of overreact quite often. Which is, I guess, my assumption that people do in relationship subreddits is they overreact. But I'll see something in like very reasonable, what I feel are reasonable discussions. And some people just go to one extreme or the other, right? For whatever reason, whether they're rooting for a part, Yeah,
it's true in the relationship sphere too. You'll go something that's made fun of on the relationship forums is they say that everybody just says divorce.
Oh.
Like, that's like everyone's immediate answer is divorce, which is that's an exaggeration. That is not what everyone says, but that's a joke within the forum.
Okay.
Is everyone's like, just divorce.
Right.
I'm a little upset because I came home and the dishes were still dirty. Divorce.
Oh, jeez. Okay.
That's the joke of the extreme advice that people give, is they oftentimes don't consider the nuances of a relationship.
Right.
And go straight to being angry about this situation, being like, just get rid of the whole person.
Just stop it altogether. Like, there's no point in continuing because obviously you guys are unhappy.
Because the story you just told me made me so mad that you should get divorced.
I recently found a subreddit called Unsent Letters. I don't know if you've ever been to this subreddit.
Oh, yeah, I think I did. It can be kind of...
It's sad. It's a really depressing...
it can be kind of sad.
Kind of, if anyone's wondering why what's adding to my depressive mood for this season.
Yeah, you're on all the sad ones.
I'm on the sad ones, yeah. Unsent Letters, though, oh my goodness. So the premise of Unsent Letters is you write anonymously to the person of whom... It can't be to yourself. It always has to be towards somebody, but someone who's affected you either positively or negatively in some way, and you never got a chance to tell that person how they made you feel, or how they've affected your life. And so you write this letter because it's an unsent letter that never makes it to the recipient. And some of the stuff there, my goodness, oh man, it is Like we as a people are struggling because some of these letters are just so unbelievably sad and unbelievably just heartbreaking. And so it translates to my worldview of negativity that if to go into like a relationship subreddit, which I don't go into, mostly because I'm not in one anymore, right? Like, so I don't feel like I need to go into it, but I'm in the Forever Alone one, which is like opposite of that.
Oh my God.
Right. But anyway, so, yeah, which Forever Alone, I'm not even Forever Alone, which is the other funny thing. It's like, I'm not even that. These are people who
better not tell them about your past relationships.
I know. You cannot mention. If you mention a relationship, they will be happy to kick you out of that forum because it's for people who've never been into have never had a relationship ever of any, not of any sort, but no romantic relationship ever in their
You're
life.
like the guy who's addicted to caffeine, so he goes to an NA meeting.
Sort of, I guess. I mean, I mostly... I think I go in there because I can kind of relate to the not their extreme loneliness, but to at least some of the loneliness they feel. When you get to there's one called FA 30+, so it's for the people who've reached wizard status. Which for anyone who doesn't know, being a wizard in the Forever Alone community means that you have reached the age of 30 and are still a virgin, and therefore you get magical powers because you've never had any relations with the opposite sex for what is essentially half your life, I guess, in their minds. But that one's even, I don't want to say it's more depressing because they kind of accept their lot in life. They're like, well, I guess this is just how it is. Like, I'll never be with anybody ever again. But yeah. It's definitely not a place where people are like, get a lot of the no one's cheering on cheating, and no one's encourage or
are they even talking about that there? Like, what does cheating have to do with their lives?
Well, the only time cheating gets brought up is they're like, they don't understand the concept of cheating. Like in the Forever Alone forums, they're like,
oh, like how can you have a person and then not be enough?
And
I
not
can see that. Yeah,
them. Yeah. Like, how do you not appreciate the person that you're with?
I agree with them on that.
Yeah, so, yeah, they're not terrible. You know, they're not. They're a misunderstood lot, I think, and I do feel for them. But anyway, beside the point, I guess the point is that as we move forward. My cynicism for relationships, or for people who have relationships, I hopefully will go away. I mean, I'm going to be, I don't know yet. We've talked about it slightly before the episode of me doing the dating app thing, which is, again, really funny if we do it after we end this show. When we have
what?
It would be funny if I started doing the dating app thing with you. After we end the show. And
so that we can,
we can't talk about. I mean, we're going to talk about it amongst ourselves.
We're definitely going to talk about it amongst ourselves,
but we're not going to be able to share it with like as advice or as like, hey, come join us on this journey. Even though we were kind of planning on it, but again, busy lives and all.
Busy.
Hopefully, you'll. I don't know, maybe Sarah will be kind enough to turn Nade.and.Pete into like her relationship experience Instagram, where she'll just write in big bold text, why do people suck like about this, or why are I don't know.
I feel like I shouldn't even like judge people too much in there because we're all going to connect with a specific type of person, right? Or
right.
A group of type of people, but there's so many different types, right?
Yeah.
So just because I'm like, oh, no thanks, doesn't mean that,
but there could be obvious.
Someone else isn't like, What's that?
There could be obvious though ones where they're obviously like, oh my god, why did they do this on their profile? Why did they?
Well, there's very few where I look at them and I'm like, oh, gross. I wouldn't even like you as a friend. You know, there's very few like that. There's a lot where I'm like, we don't think the same way. We don't like the same stuff. You know, you look like one of my exes.
Oh, jeez. Oh, wow,
I mean, there's been a couple where they do look a little bit like my exes, and I'm like, next, no, thank you. I don't think I've ever. I mean, that's not true. I've seen people who look like my ex-wife, for instance. That always weirds me out. Yeah, it weirds me out. It doesn't happen a lot, but I've come across a couple people that just looked a bit like one of my exes. Yeah. And I was like, no, can't do it. Can't just look at them and see my ex.
Right. No, I get you. Now, going back, now that you've dived back in, do you feel like you have a type? Like, do you find yourself, I seem to be swiping or at least liking a lot of people who seem to have a very similar nose, or I don't know.
I don't know. I don't like guys that are too pretty.
Oh. Okay.
Like too conventionally attractive.
I see. Right. I think we talked a little bit about that. Yeah. Okay. So
yeah.
you don't like convention. Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Not too much. Yeah. I tend to like beards a bit more, but just like a little bit. Not like the ZZ Top beard.
Yeah. You don't need a lumberjack beard. Yeah.
Let's see. What else? I don't know.
Okay. I mean, that's a good... but you are noticing a little bit of a pattern, right?
There's maybe a little bit of a trend. But I mean, I have swiped right on some people who don't have beards or that are a little bit cuter than I would usually go for.
I like that that's an issue. It's like, they're a little too pretty.
I do. I look at this person I'm in a conversation with. I'm like, he's awfully handsome, though.
And what's the... so what is the problem if they are? Like, what is the downside of it, I guess? If they're
I'm not sure why. I think I have assumptions. I'm a very shallow person, and I make assumptions.
There's nothing wrong with, again, like I said, the judging the book by its cover, as I said.
Yeah, they're probably great. They're not probably great, but they might be great.
Right.
But yeah,
there's a lot of amazing, good-looking people out there, Sarah. I'm just letting you know.
There are. I am sure that there are, but something about them makes me feel a little uneasy. Like,
are you comparing it to your own looks?
Well, they've already matched me, so that's not it.
Okay.
It's like I maybe I have some assumptions about good-looking guys.
It's weird. I don't normally have I try not, which is weird for a guy. I think guys are very much like, if they see someone attractive, they have assumptions as well. But I don't know. I don't think I do. Now, mind you, I'm not on the apps yet, so who knows? Maybe I will once I'm back on the apps. But man, I kind of wish we had thought about this in the penultimate episode. Not even, well, yeah, even the penultimate.
Oh, so you could have gotten on too?
No, I could have asked questions like, where should I go? Which one should I add? And like join. So.
Oh, well, I'm doing Hinge and Facebook dating.
Okay. I did Facebook dating before. I bet it's different now. I mean, I did Facebook dating the moment it came out. The moment it was told, hey, guess what? Facebook dating is an app that you can use.
Yeah, I started when it was new too. I did that for a while before I met my ex. And then now I'm back on there.
I feel like Instagram and Twitter need... Well, no, Instagram is Facebook, so never mind. But like, all the social media should have a dating aspect to their websites. Because there's a lot
Twitter seems like a weird one.
Twitter does seem like a weird one. But I do see, well, weirdly enough, mostly women, go on to their Twitter and be like, I'm single. I wish I could go and connect with somebody. And like, they're actively telling their entire followership, hey, by the way, I am actually trying to date, even though obviously they're not trying to date their followers, but
so it's just kind of like a Facebook post where you're like, hey, here's my thoughts right now.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Well, then they can go to literally any app and do it.
No, I know that, but I'm just saying, like,
but yeah, just not doing it on Twitter is, I mean, well, Facebook has Facebook dating, but making a Facebook post that says, hey, I'm lonely and like to date isn't the same as actually going to the app of Facebook dating.
Yeah.
So,
that's a good point.
Yeah. I don't know. I think that's just sort of like, hey, Void, here's what's going on with me.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not easy. It's not easy.
Yeah.
And you've started, and you'll I'll be sure to. I mean, I'll be following your progress, which will be interesting. I'll be interesting to hear stories of the people of whom you both dislike and like a lot. Hopefully, it'll be more like a lot than dislike, but you never know. I guess it would be the other way around, no matter what, because that's the kind of.
Right. Wouldn't it be great if you just super liked, like, most of the people you saw on the dating? You're like, oh my God, you're all fantastic.
There's going to be somebody out there who's doing that now. It's like, I like everyone.
I literally, there's so many choices and it's all good.
They know what the Mighty Boosh is. Oh my God. It's funny because, a podcast co-host, well, not anymore. She's moved. I don't think she's what?
Oh, I'm sorry. I just had another thought pop up into my head.
Hit me before I tell this story then.
You have to get on Hinge. They probably do this on all sorts of apps now, but you do a voice prompt. So you record your voice. And I've listened to guys' voices. That's important to me.
Oh, wow.
Oh my God. You're going to hit it out of the park.
Oh no. I don't know about that. Yeah.
Yes.
I'll have to think of something proper, but.
Well, they give you a ton of prompts to choose from.
Okay. So there was a podcast co-host of mine from another show who was in your position, who was dating. She had one requirement. Mm-hmm. All right. And you might find this a little nerdy, but apparently this was her requirement in order for any guy who talked to her to get to the next level of conversation, had to pass this one test. And it was a test that happened immediately. Okay. Now, you're not a big, I don't know. How many Star Wars movies have you seen?
Jeez, how many are there?
9.
Probably not all of them.
Did you see the prequels? When they came out in the early 2000s with Ewan McGregor.
Yes, I saw those, yes.
Okay. So there's a scene where Ewan McGregor, as Obi-Wan Kenobi, you know who General Grievous is, the robot with all the arms?
No, I forget.
All right. So there's a scene in episode 2 or 3, I forget which one, where Obi-Wan Kenobi drops down to confront this bad guy and says, "Hello there," right?
Okay.
Now, the appropriate response to anyone, because this is my response. This is even before I knew this was her thing. But my response is General. Well, I have to do it in the voice. General Kenobi, right? You have to say General Kenobi, right? Because that's what he says to Obi-Wan when he lands. It says, "Hello there." Her requirement for any dude she was dating on these dating apps was she would say, I think she even had the picture. Or something of Obi-Wan saying, "Hello there." So she made it pretty easy. All the guy had to do was say, General Kenobi. Not in that voice, because not everyone likes to do voices. But they had to say, General Kenobi. If they didn't say that, the likelihood of it getting very much further was pretty much nil. Because she's the kind of person who, like, that was I think her current boyfriend right now, that was how they ended up together, was he said the appropriate password of General Kenobi.
Oh my gosh, I love that. Like when someone's just supposed to know, but like when they do, I have this friend and he loves this show, and I love the show too. And I don't talk to him for months at a time. But today he texted me and he said, "Sarah, we know you're eating a hot dog," and I knew exactly what to respond, which was, "No, I'm just really tired."
Exactly. Right? How fun is that? All right.
It's awesome. If you know that reference, good for you.
And I think now, does that for her? All of her, every boyfriend she's had using dating apps passed that test. They all said General Kenobi when she said hello there. Is that that's not a stupid, that's pretty fun, right? That's a pretty cool little, like, okay. Well, at least we know that I
feel like it's it's pretty easy, since a lot of guys like that franchise.
It's not, I don't think it's that easy, because she's only had, she did used to tell us that not everyone would say it appropriately. They would either say hello, they're back or something, right? Like they wouldn't say automatically, because hello there's a pretty innocuous saying, right? Even if they have,
but she gave a picture with it, right?
Right, but even then it's just like, oh, we're responding with gifts, are we? Okay, right? Like, I feel like it's not an obvious, there you go, right? Because it's 2 words, hello there,
I guess what she's testing is that can they recognize a humorous puzzle, and can they solve it?
Yeah.
So
yay or nay on that.
Yeah, that's cool.
Okay.
If you're a Star Wars person.
No, but what would be yours, out of curiosity?
I wouldn't do the hot dog thing because that's too obscure. I would love to do something from like one of my favorite shows, but sadly they aren't as popular as they should be.
Well, what's one of your favorite shows?
Well, I was thinking of answering one of the prompts about, like, I'm weirdly attracted to people who are like in love with one of my favorite comedy TV series. And I would say my favorites are, probably the most well-known one is Trailer Park Boys.
Oh, sure.
But I also love, I think a lot of people know I Think You Should Leave too. But I also love Detroiters, Strangers with Candy, and Tom Goes to the Mayor, which not as many people have seen those.
No.
But I feel like if someone were to say, "Oh my God, I love those shows," I'd be like, "Oh my God, we have like the same sense of humor,"
I think that's important. Yeah.
Yeah.
Important. Yeah.
So, what are you looking up?
I didn't look up anything.
Oh.
But I think, yeah. Here's the thing. I don't know. I think that would work for a lady. I don't know how much it would work, because I work for a dude. Because for me, what I find funny, for instance, they would have to be able to. They'd have to watch. Like, I couldn't do that. I couldn't do that to a woman, because they'd have to watch really stupid humor that I know in my heart of hearts is stupid, but I find it hilarious. For instance, even though people will probably reprimand me for this, but Spaceballs, for instance, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they have to like a stupid comedy, which is not a stupid, because it's a Mel Brooks movie, and Mel Brooks movies aren't stupid comedies. They're fun, right? Or whatever. Like, most people would be like, "What? Blasphemy. They're good movies." And which I would reply, not everyone likes them. But there's another movie that the host of another podcast that I co-host, called Points of Interest Podcast, he and I both love this film that I think, if a woman said they love this film, I'd have to marry them on the spot. Because no, it is Kung Pao, Enter the Fist. Okay?
Wait. Is that the one where the lady has 3 boobs?
1.
Oh, one boob. That's
yeah,
right.
She only has one boob.
That was so weird.
So when that movie came out, I worked at a movie theater. And my job, because it used to be on reels, it didn't used to be just a downloaded video that you can play in movie theaters now. I mean, now it's all digital. Before, you had to put it on film. And it had to go through this machine. You had to reel it through. And it was a lot of work. And you had to make sure that the print was perfect. There weren't smudges. There weren't lines. It was a good print. And when you work at a movie theater, sometimes you get to watch a movie before it shows. And you get to make sure the print works and is pretty and is lovely. And my job was to do that for Kung Pao Enter the Fist. I was laughing the entire time, from the moment the movie started to the moment it ended, that I had got none of it. I'm supposed to also mark when the reels change. There's a little circle at the top right. What do you call it? A Fight Club tells you about it.
Oh, yeah.
And it's a real thing.
I remember seeing those in the older movies. I remember the one in, I distinctly remembered the one in, what's it called? The Neverending Story.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, it would definitely have been a Neverending Story for sure.
Yeah.
It's just like little dot that happens for like a split second, but that means because reels come in. The movie doesn't come in one big reel. It's in a bunch of small reels that you splice together. So that just lets you know, that's where they seam together. That's when they connect. Anyway, beside the point, I missed all of them. I was too busy laughing. I was tears running down my face. I was crying the whole time.
Oh my God. So the movie got all jinked up in the middle because of you?
No, luckily it was fine. The print was fine. As far as I know, the print was fine. I just but you're supposed to, you have a little clipboard and you're supposed to mark all of the circles so we know that you can, because you count the number of circles, that means, we got all the reels. You're supposed to have 5 of them. We got 5 reels. You have 5 circles. Done. The movie has the right number of reels. I didn't see one of them. I was too busy.
Whoopsies.
Yeah. And the supervisor that was there, who I was friends with, who I mentioned her in a previous episode, she used baby voice for her boyfriend for some reason. It annoyed the hell out of me. Yeah. I don't know why. She would talk normally to everyone else. She got a call from her boyfriend one day. Hi, baby. How are you? I'm fine. And oh my God. What is wrong with him? I talked to her. I'm like, why did you do that? And he's like, he likes it. That sounded weird. That sounded really strange. Anyway, so yeah. So if there was a woman out there who was just came up to me and said, "That's a lot of nuts," I'd be like, "Oh, we need to go to Vegas right now."
Oh my gosh!
I got to put a ring on it because that is a rarity, because it's a movie people genuinely hate. It's a movie that people loathe because it's so dumb. And I still find it, one of the funniest movies I've ever seen. And
yeah,
I don't like stupid movies, but for some reason this one just hit all the right spots because it's an old kung fu movie, right? It's got weird characters. It's just a lot of it is just so dumb, but I like that kind of humor. So anyway, but you apparently someone who needs to Canadian humor, because a lot of your stuff is Canadian, right?
Well,
except for Trailer Park, right?
Besides Trailer Park Boys, which ones are also Canadian?
I thought the other one, at least one of the other ones wasn't it?
I don't know.
I don't know either.
Oh, The Mighty Boosh is another good one. We were just talking about that.
But that's UK. That's okay.
That's UK.
Yeah. I like a lot of UK stuff too, but
yeah, no, I think the rest might be American.
Okay, because I haven't heard I know you've talked about them before, Detroiters and stuff like that. Right? I've never seen that. I never heard of it. But
I love it so much.
Yeah, but the word Detroit's in there, so I'm assuming it's American.
Yeah, yeah, it takes place in Detroit.
yeah. So things like that where I'm I don't know, but there a lot of the shows that you mentioned are, I feel, I don't even know how you found them, in all honesty. I don't even know how you learned about them, because I've never heard of them. And I follow a lot of this stuff just for,
different ways.
Yeah.
Yeah, I found out about them from some are from interesting characters in my life.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not ridicule or judgment. It's just surprise. But yeah. So, when it comes to that stuff, it's important, and I think it's funny. This is just a regular episode minus the questions. I kind of like
Pretty
that.
much.
It's just like it's a regular episode, but that's how it should be. I think, because the explanation is super simple, right? Like we're ending the show altogether because we don't have the time anymore. We're just busy, but what we do have time for is kind of hanging out every once in a while and talking, like friends do. So that's kind of why the show has to go, but like it's know that it's not like we because I know some podcasters just stop talking to each other. I guess like once it's over, that's it. They never talk to each other again. But yeah.
Oh no, we're definitely keep talking.
Yeah. Well, we have to because we have two potential. Well, you first and then me, right? Adventures of
adventures in
dating,
online dating.
Yeah, just in general dating,
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. I mean, I am doing this part-time job where I could potentially meet people, so
that's true.
That's kind of cool.
Look, I mean, again, my favorite form of dating, I guess, is the meet cute. the serendipitous occasion.
Does that ever happen?
Serendipity? Or you just meet somebody?
Cutes.
Well, what is meet cute really, other than right place, right time, right? That's really all meet cute is. It's not like...
But also like, oh my god, like it's a story you tell later where you're like, we both were in the elevator and it got stuck. Or, we both went for the same book and there was only one left,
That's true. No, that's a good point. Yeah. Nothing like that.
Or like, we were turning around the corner, didn't see each other, and we spilled coffee all over each other.
Then we got into an all-out fight because we
ruined each other's clothing. Fist fight. And then at the hospital, our beds were next to each other, and since we couldn't fight anymore because we were in casts, we just started talking.
Once the swelling went down and we could see each other again.
Meet cute.
Meet cute, yeah. Hey, well, I blame How I Met Your Mother on that, right? Because that's the whole premise of that show is like the meet cute of how he met the kid's mom. So
I don't know. I really couldn't get into that show.
I couldn't either. There's several shows I could never understand. And look, blasphemy, I know. Big Bang Theory. I never understood why that was popular, but
I get why it's popular, but yeah, not really my kind of thing.
Mine either. I'm one of those. Look, I know a lot of geeks like that, but I'm one of those geeks where I'm like, this is just like a caricature of geeks. These aren't what real geeks are like. Like these aren't real nerds. These are what Hollywood think nerds are. Like these aren't real. Like I don't know what you're trying to represent here, but that's not us.
It's easy to digest.
It is. That's true. So, apparently, we're neurotic, like Sheldon, and we're, I don't know, love struck like the main character, whoever that guy was. I forget his name.
Leonard.
Leonard. That's it, Leonard. Thank you. Leonard. Everyone has the name attached to their yeah. But yeah, I guess all in all, as we move forward after this show, we just hope anyone who's listening, this show's going to be up for a little while longer, so you'll hear old episodes if you happen to stumble upon this and you're like, last episode, what? The email still exists. Like social media, I'm not getting into the social media immediately. So if you really want to say something or talk to us there, you can at isthislovepod and isthislovepod@gmail.com. Like if you really want to hit us up, that's not going away at least for a while. I don't have any intention of deleting it immediately. So if you're listening to this last episode, it's like, man, I really wish we could have talked about something. Yeah, write us in. Sarah and I will. I'll talk to Sarah and maybe I can send a reply. But Yeah. No
Write
show.
to Francis, because I don't know how much I'm actually going to open my account.
Well, they come to me anyway. Oh, except for I guess the Instagram.
Yeah, don't message me on Instagram because I have so many profiles right now that I'm not reliable.
I guess don't do the Instas Love. Well, you can do the Instas. I have access to that. So if you want to do the Instas Love Instagram, I have access to it, so I can.
Yeah,
I can chat.
But definitely don't do Nade.and.p
if
you want a quick response.
Yeah, yeah.
I never check it. I'm sorry.
That's all right. Hold on. I mean, I'm following it, so I'm curious now. I'm going to take a look while it's still here. But otherwise, yeah, that's pretty much it. I don't know. Anything else you want to say before we make our way out of here? Anything? You have 61 followers, 49 followers.
What?
You have 49 followers on your Sara, Nade, and Pete account.
Oh my gosh, that is crazy.
Yeah,
how did that even happen?
So you have almost 50 people following you, and you're like, I'm never gonna post anything. It's there's 50 people waiting for you to post something.
I'm managing a lot of accounts right now.
I know. Don't worry about it. I just find it funny that there's
everybody.
50 people that are just sitting there waiting. I wonder if
I'm
she's
sorry. Who knows? Maybe one day I'll be super bored.
Wow, some of the people that are following you, I'm like, why are you following her? These are people I know. I'm like, oh, I guess they're following you because of the show.
Yeah, they're just doing it because they follow you. And there's probably AKA the other guy follows Sara, Nade.and.Pete, and they're like, follow, because I like to add more followers for myself.
Right. I just like the meow, or the mow.
Meow.
Meow. But yeah.
Well, I guess all I have to say in closing is sometimes things can feel negative, but guys, let's be positive. I do think there is something to being positive in this dating experience. Right now, I might not be there just yet, but I absolutely have plans to be feeling more positive about this in the very near future. Yeah. And if you can't feel positive right now, then just make your goal to plan to possibly try to be soon.
Yeah, because it shows in your approach when you're interacting with somebody. It's hard to hide it completely, and so let yourself be positive. It also makes kind of the rejection part a little easier when you're positive, because it's well, then the next one, right? The next one.
Yeah, there's always a better way to look at it, and rejection is, I mean, really, if you're being super positive, and I'm not advocating toxic positivity, you're not allowed to be sad,
right?
But but it just make the goal to be at some point you're gonna feel good about stuff. But a really positive way to look at rejection is that they're making room for the really good thing to come into your life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, make room. My last bit of advice before we wrap up is, for a lot of people, it's a slow process of finding love. I mean, I was single for 12 years before I found someone who wanted to have any type of relationship with me. And we did it for a couple of years. That was great. Actually, I guess 10 years before that happened. So it takes a long time for some people to find relationship and love again. And sometimes it's even longer than that. Sometimes it's your whole life. We had a story in the last episode of a woman in her 70s finding love with, I think he was 80 or something, or 90 or whatever. He was
older. Yeah,
he was older. Yeah. So, but she was in her 70s when it happened, and so for those out there who are like, why does no one love me? Why is it taking forever? Sometimes it does just take that long, and your patience can oftentimes be rewarded. So just relax, take it easy. Don't jump on everybody. Don't tell everyone. Don't confess your love at a drop of a hat. Don't smother anyone. Just be available. Be friendly. Don't be hurt if someone calls you their friend, despite Sarah's not, I guess, opposition to being like dating their friends, but at some point
it's not an opposition. I just don't. I'm never tempted to do so.
Right.
It makes perfect sense if it is something that strikes your fancy.
Right. That's what I'm trying to say. Is like, even though that's not her way, it might be someone else's. So don't be afraid of being someone's friend and you'll appreciate the friendship at least. And appreciate and enjoy that friendship. Don't anticipate a relationship, but enjoy that friendship. And there's nothing that says that you guys can't be a relationship in the future if you guys really like each other anyway. So there you go.
Yeah.
But that's it. Thanks everyone for listening. That's all for us here at the Is This Love podcast, where we talk about and navigate the weird and wonderful world of love and relationships. You guys have been great. We really appreciate it. Enjoy your lives. Look out for my next podcast. There's going to be one at some point. I'm certain of it that I'll do. So be on the lookout for that. And maybe every once in a while, with Sarah's permission, I'll post, like, not post, but maybe at some point just be like, yeah, Sarah's doing well. She has a boyfriend who smothers her in references to the Mighty Boosh all the time or whatever.
Oh my gosh, just pure bliss.
All the hot dogs. Just all the hot
That's
dogs.
not from that show.
I know, I'm joking. I know, I'm just saying. Oh no, do yourself a hole. Bye everyone. We'll talk next. Well, we won't talk next time. Bye everyone. We'll talk.
Goodbye.
Never. All right. Bye.
Oh.